Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're making a really fun recipe. It is easy, simple, as I always say, but it's really fun. We're going to make calzones, pizza style calzone. So a calzone is just basically a kind of folded bread pocket with a bunch of stuff stuffed in it. You can put anything in there. Ham and cheese and mushrooms is really good. You could do a taco calzone with some taco meat and cheese and avocado and olives and green onions and all the good stuff. Then top it with some sour cream and salsa. That would be amazing. But today we're going to do a pizza style. So the recipe calls for two pizza crusts, pie crusts. That's what we're making it with. It's kind of a little trick. But I'm only going to do one today because that's all my husband and I need. I mean, you can get 6 really good servings out of this full recipe. So I'm doing half the recipe. So that'll give us, 2 or 3 really good servings. That's all we need. So I'm going to flip the camera down and kind of show you a few things. You can do whatever ingredients in this you want. You can, doctor it up however you want. I'm doing a pizza sauce, some homemade pizza sauce I pulled out of the freezer this morning. The good old Trilogy, of course. I've got some some ground pork with some sausage seasoning in the skillet. Some garlic, some chopped mushrooms that I had in the freezer I pulled out. Put a little ham in it. I just like that. I'm actually using a Canadian style bacon that I carry at the market. It is so good. It's great for breakfast. It's great for all kinds of things. I've actually used ham hock before that I had in the freezer and just that I'd already boiled and picked the meat off of, threw that in there. That works. Or leave it out. I mean, you can do all kinds of things. And then some roasted red peppers. Cheese, of course. So that's what I'm doing. But again, you can do, this is super flexible to do whatever kind of fillings you want. I just really want to show you the process of using the pie crust. So I'm going to flip the camera down and we'll get busy. All right, so I have my sausage, my ground pork and sausage seasoning in my skillet. I'm going to throw my Trilogy in there and we're going to brown it. That's kind of your first step, so to speak. Now, one thing I'm going to say, I'm going to make the filling as if I'm doing the full recipe, and then I'm going to put half of it in the freezer. So next time I want to make this, the filling's all done and all I have to do is work with my crust. That works super well if you just want to do half. So I don't want, follow the recipe if you're doing the full thing, and don't get confused if I'm saying different measurements because I'm doing things in half. Let me turn this down so it's not making too much noise while it browns. Okay, so this is a pie shell. Actually, it's a gluten-free pie shell that I just flipped over before we went out to feed a few minutes ago to let it thaw out. And as you see it, I did it upside down. It's sunk down, kind of cracked the edges, but it's all nice and flat. So what I'll do is just kind of use the back of a spoon. You don't want to push too hard because you don't want to mash it into your parchment paper. This is actually the paper that was on the pie shell itself, but depending on how your pie shells come, you may just have to lay out a piece of parchment paper. I mean, this is such a cheater way of doing this. And I'll tell you too, if it starts getting a little dry, if you leave it sitting out a little too long, which mine's okay, you can get a cup with some water. Just put the back of your spoon in the water and kind of do the same action, and it'll help soften and kind of, let this all come together. This is a super fun recipe to do with your kids, no matter how old they are. Little ones, medium ones, grown ones, because, who doesn't like a calzone? Who doesn't like a pizza? Who doesn't like taco or Mexican? So whatever your stuffing is, then, you could make a bunch of these and have all the ingredients and let people pick out their own ingredients. Do whatever they want to do. Okay. So that's about that. So we're just making a nice, flat, round dough, so to speak. And then my sausage, my ground beef, Lord have mercy, my ground pork, I'll get it out in a minute, is browning over here with my Trilogy. And then I want to cut up my ham. So depending on what you're using, let me swap this like this. I mean, I do, and again, your kitchen, your rules. So I like mine in little bitty bits because I like for the flavor to kind of go through the whole thing. And you just need about 2 ounces. That's one thing. The first time I kind of started making these and working with them and trying to create, the dish, it was like, ooh, I love ham, I'm gonna put a bunch. Ooh, I love roasted red peppers, I'm gonna put a bunch. Ooh, I love this, I'm gonna put a bunch. And then it was just too big, too stuffed, too. So I learned less is more with this recipe. So you just want a little of the different things, and it turns out fantastic. So we've got our ham. Our mushrooms are already chopped up. It's a 1/2 cup. But again, do more, do less, whatever works for you. I'm just going to open that so it's ready to dump in the skillet. And then we need a tablespoon of the minced garlic. My pizza sauce is exactly a cup, so I'm good there. And then a 1/4 cup of the roasted red peppers that we'll cut up. Okay, so the sausage is browned. I cut that off. I've got my garlic, so I'm just going to kind of scoop it off to the side. This is my tablespoon of minced garlic. And then we got a quarter teaspoon, goodness gracious, a 1/4 cup of roasted red peppers. And I don't worry about getting real particular on how I cut them because they will tend to fall apart when they're mixed in with the meat and stirred around. And so, if you got any pieces that are a little bigger, they're gonna become small. So I don't just get too overly concerned with that. So let me get my garlic out of the way, and I'll switch us around over here, and we'll finish the filling, and then we'll work with the crust. Okay, so once your sausage is browned, it's just going to look like this. Or again, you could use ground beef and make it taco and make it Mexican. That would be fantastic. Then we're going to add, we'll add our little bit of ham and our that's not mushrooms, that's garlic. I don't know where my brain is. Mushrooms. And then the roasted red peppers and the sauce. And so all of this just gets mixed together. And it's pretty dadgum tasty, this filling is. All right, let me get that out of the way. So you just want to mix it up real good. And you don't want it super runny or wet. So, I mean, you're like, oh, that's not enough pizza sauce. I mean, you can add more if you'd like, but you want your crust to kind of crisp up. And if you put too much runny in there, then it'll just be mushy, and that would not be good. So, got that all mixed up. Pretty tasty. Now, we're going to take our crust. Again, let me swap things around here. Put this over. Tell you what, I'm going to just, if I can do this without jacking the camera up. Ah, there we go. Now, so what you'll want to do after you get that all mixed up is put about half of your cheese on the bottom of your crust. And the recipe for the 2 calzones calls for 7 ounces. So I'm just using half of that. And what you want to do is you're just going to do half of it because we're going to fill it and then we're going to fold this over. And you don't want to get, I mean, you want to go up kind of to the edge, but you don't want anything hanging out or get so close that you can't kind of crimp your edge together or mash it together, so to speak. Now, I'm going to do a layer of spinach because I love that. And then we'll do half of the filling and then more spinach and then more cheese. So that way your cheese is kind of between the filling and the dough, and that just helps keep your dough from getting mushy. So I'm just going to eyeball my filling over here. And what I'll usually do is like flatten it out real good in the skillet. Move this over here. I mean, this isn't any brain surgery stuff here, but I'll get it real flat and then just kind of go down the middle and go, okay, there's half. Nothing scientific about that, but it works. And then, like I mentioned, one half is going to go in the freezer and the other half is going to go in here. And this thing is going to be fluffy and stuffed and poofy and fantastic. So there's nothing wimpy about it. I mean, if you want to make it not quite so full, you could use a little less filling. Maybe with 1 pound of ground beef. Why do I keep saying beef? 1 pound of ground pork. You could do 3 pie crusts and, you know, stretch it a little further. But just keep in mind that you want it half, so when you fold over, you've got like this half moon shape, and you've got stuffing as full as you can get it. My little mushrooms turned kind of orange with the pizza sauce. They look like pieces of butternut squash. It's fall, and I made butternut squash stew this weekend, so I guess that's on my brain. I'm thinking, how did butternut squash get in here? All right. Y'all, this is good stuff. Okay. Got about one more little spoon over here. And then again, that's going to go in a little container, pop it in the freezer. And next time I want to make a calzone, it's just get out my crust. Because my package had 2 crusts, but I didn't want to because, again, they're better fresh. I mean, they reheat pretty good, but, you know, the dough just doesn't want to get as nice and crispy when you reheat it. Definitely don't reheat it in a microwave because it'll just be mush and tough and gross. But you can pop it in the oven. And actually, what I would do if I was reheating is I'd take it out of the fridge and let it sit for a while and come to room temperature, you know, a couple hours, and then put it in the oven, instead of trying to take it from an ice cold refrigerator all the way up, because then, that's a squirrely leaf, your outside's just going to be probably rock hard and your inside's still going to be cold. All right. Man, I have stuffed this baby. It's going to be good, though. All right. Now we'll put our cheese. Another little layer. Kind of like that. I may have gotten a little too close to my edge over here. But there we go. Kind of move that back just a tad. Now what you want to do, and this is the fun part, is you're going to take the paper. Ooh, I did get this thing way too full. And roll it over like that. Kind of press it down. And then peel your paper back. And then you can take, ooh, yeah, this baby is overstuffed. I guess, I don't know. I need a little more back that way. Where's my fork? And then you can take your fork and kind of mash. You just kind of move it around and mash it around till you get it good and even. Dadgummit, my spinach stems are poking through. I don't want that. So maybe I'm just being too big of a pig and stuffing mine too much. Maybe if you don't stuff it quite as much, it will seal up a little better. Whoops. But the good news is any place that you have a little cut or break or whatever in your crust, you can just kind of wet it and smash it back together. Yeah, that's not good. I mean, it's going to cook. It's going to be fine. It's going to taste amazing. It's just not going to be as solid as I would have wished. But I guarantee you it will eat every bite. Okay. So now, if it's not quite stuffed, or if I'd gotten more back kind of this way and more a little up that way, so you can see where I screwed up. I haven't done this in a long time. I used to make these at the restaurant, and then when our lunch service got so much bigger, it was just too much trying to make these for the number of people we serve now. So I retired this recipe. But they're yum. I mean, they are yummy. And then so I'm going to slide this onto a baking sheet. It'll go in the oven for 20 minutes on 400. Get it good and cooked, and the crust is crispy and brown. And then I would cut it in 3 and serve it with a nice salad. And it was a fantastic lunch. For us, I think I'm just going to cut it in half because we're not having anything else with it. But you can see it's a little, I don't know if you can tell in the video, but it's a little flat right there. I should have gotten a little more filling back that way, but I don't want to keep messing with my crust and mess it up. But it's going to taste good regardless of what it looks like. So if you're not quite as overstuffed as I got it, it's a little easier to come together. But let me grab my baking sheet. Okay, so I got it flipped onto my parchment paper, and it just put a couple little cracks in there, which again are no big deal. Does not affect the flavor, the taste. But if you want it to look all nice and perfectly sealed up, then, you want to kind of paint over these like I'm doing. But I'm going to pop this into 400-degree oven, let it go 20 minutes, and then you'll see what the final product looks like. And my dough's coming apart, is so tasty. So stay tuned. Okay, so here's the calzone out of the oven. I didn't get real super particular about making sure every little bit of my crust was perfect because I just wasn't really that worried about it. You could make it much prettier than this one, but pretty doesn't change the taste. So I'm going to take this spatula and cut into it and just show y'all what the middle looks like. Well, if I can, without destroying it, doing this one-handed. Ah, look at that. Yum. Okay, there we go. I had to put the camera down and do it with 2 hands. But look at that. It's so tasty. So this is supper. Y'all give this a shot. Let me know what you think. We'll see you on the next video.